it's not just the direction from Yanagi. There was actually a point they came to on both sides. On Yanagi's side, of course, there was this criticism that I just mentioned, but also on the side of Kawai Kanjiro, there was a sense that he was not doing the right thing. He was just aping forms. He wasn't creating something that was permanent of his own, and this is why he decided to change at the same time that Yanagi gave his very strong criticism.
In his stomach.
で、河合は最終的には民芸に関わりながら作家であるという形で来ます。それはやっぱりスタートの段階でも民芸をやる前から作家としてそうやって認めていただいてた部分もあるんですが、本人は本当に民芸の心で生きたい、生き方で示したような人で、名声とか全くあれで、私の母が河合の娘なんですけれども、学校の職業欄に書くときに陶磁器製造業と書けと、陶芸家じゃなくで、そういうふうに書いてたんですね。ただ私はやっぱり河合の仕事っていうのはなんていうんですかね、これ私が言うのは身内のことなのでちょっとあれなんですけれども、職人では終わらない芸術家の仕事だったかなとは思ってます。
For Kawai Kanjiro, of course, it was not a question of being a great artist, of creating great artworks. Of course, he did this. But he thought of himself, first of all, as a human being, that he felt he had to react to people, to objects, to events around him as a human being, and that the artist comes on top of that. That is something that is added on top of being a human, and that was at the center of his being. And this was also something he urged his daughter to do. That not only was she a teacher, but she also was a human being that had to react as well. So maybe it's a family tradition in the Kawai family.
Dunque forse questa esigenza morale del Kawai Kanjiro ha coinciso, per una fortunata coincidenza, con l'avvento di questa filosofia, di questo conio, di un concetto che immagino, da quello che ho capito, lo ha aiutato a superare queste sue remore rispetto al suo rapporto di artista con gli elementi che lui prendeva, andava a prendere da altre culture. Grazie mille, grazie. Professor Yanagi, you have spoken in your interesting lecture on, you have mentioned the display of Mingei. So when I tentatively tried to approach this complex theme, I found an interesting recent book which analyzes the museums during Imperial Japan. And one of the museums which was quoted and talked about and written about was the Mingei. I think I mentioned it in my the words which I write in the catalogue. So one interesting aspect to me, a Western museum director, is the fact that a Western institution such as a museum, which dates back to let's say, to the 16th century in the Western culture, and becomes a public institution from private to public, was needed in Imperial Japan to make this kind of objects particularly valuable and understood by the vast majority of the population. So this I find interesting, that Yanagi, seeing Nordiska in Stockholm, thought that would be the best way to show his then theory. And the second aspect which I found interesting is you mentioned the attention he had in the way he displayed objects in vitrines. So did he leave precise indications on how to show the Mingei ceramics or textiles or in his museum? Do we know exactly how he wanted them to be seen?
まずは先生の見せ方はすごい興味深くなりました。そして本人の見て方がそうですね。どうやって飾っているかという時にあるものですね。英語ではないんですけども、その本の中では日本のいろんな組織の飾り方について書いてあるんです。で、一つは人間なんです。で、それを読んでいろいろ思ったんですけども、それは西洋の方では16世紀からそういう美術館というのがあったんですけれども、でも公の美術館じゃなくて個人のお坊さん、それを公にするときはどういうふうに日本のつながったかですね。そしてもう一つは柳さんはストックホルムに行ってスウェーデンのリビングのさんを見たときはちょっと腕を測定しながら見張ってみたりしながら何でもいいとそういう飾り方と見えなかったのはどう違うのでしょうか。またそうですが見えるの飾り方というのは説明しています。
正しくこれが正しいかどうかわからないし、言葉としてこういうふうに飾りなさいということが民芸館にあるわけではないとは思いますが、私が少なくとも20歳ぐらいから30年間ぐらいは民芸館の陳列というのを毎回年に4回陳列会があって、それにはずっと携わってきていました。で最終的にはそのケースを一つ与えられて、そこに好きなものを蔵から持ってきて並べなさいというようなこともやらせてはもらったんですが、否定はされていくんですが、美しく飾るっていうことよりかは、その一つ一つのものの持っているものがより美しくなる、その特徴がより引き立つような並べ方を考えるですとかね。それぞれのものをより美しく見えるようにというよりか、そのケースの中、あるいはその雰囲気の中でもって、その組み合わせじゃなくて、その持っているものの力が輝く。とても抽象的ですけれども、そのためにはその一つだけじゃなくて、例えばいろんな焼き物だったり、いろんな高さだったり、いろんなその重さだったり、いろんなものを一つのケースだったら4つ並べるような時があって、その時にそれぞれどこを見せたいのかっていうのをある程度バランスしながら調整していくんです。
So this is nothing like Professor Yanagi's experience, but when I was doing my dissertation research in Japan, I spent a lot of time at the Mingei-kan, and I was fortunate enough to be allowed to participate in the exhibition Changing, and they were incredibly generous about letting at that time a young foreign woman handle these things and actually carry them back and forth from the storeroom. And at one point I had a very similar experience just once, where the curator said, okay, you do it, you figure out how it goes in the case. And I tried very hard several times, and it was never right. And I never could really understand what it was to make something kagayaku in that way. So I'll just say they were incredibly generous, though, about letting people try. But on the other hand, it was very clear that there was some principle at work that was very difficult to communicate. And the other thing I will say is that, how many people here have actually been to the Mingei? Oh, quite a few, actually. Well, you may have noticed that something rather particular to the Mingei is that there are no captions. There's no explanation. And often first-time visitors or even second-time visitors find this a little off-putting. But I think the point there is that, at least this is what we were told, that Yanagi felt very strongly that you needed to develop your eye. And you needed to develop chokkan, if possible.
I think what Kim says is it very much echoes what Professor Yanagi said, and that is that there are no direct orders on how to do this, and the object of it was to find some kind of a way, and not only the balance, but also how to make each object shine in a certain way. A certain characteristic that is very strong about this object somehow comes in the forefront, and this is something that really cannot be taught. There's no firm, fast rules, and it's just done through experience. And Professor Yanagi participated in this ritual, is what you can call it, 4 times a year, every year from his 20s to his 30s, and in the beginning he got everything wrong, but then gradually I think he improved.
So it's a questione di occhio, it's a matter of eye proportions and of experience, of course. And if you've noticed that in the exhibition we have also no captions. We have them in, but I wasn't taught that this, I've never been to a Mingei, by the way, so we don't have them. We have resumed them in a booklet and in a digital audio guide. So, and people appreciate this. The public has told me that that is very liked. Il fatto che al Mingei non vi siano didascalie alle opere, in qualche modo dobbiamo averlo sentito anche noi per teletrasporto mentale, perché anche noi non le abbiamo messe nella nostra, e il pubblico è pronto a non avere, o forse è liberato da questa sovrapposizione mentale nell'apprezzamento immediato di un oggetto, per cui mi fa piacere sentire that captions are not present at the Mingei either. Thank you very much, Professor Yanagi. Dr. Brandt, you left us with those wonderful kimonos. We would all have liked to know more about that. And when I read your abstract again, the role of women at that, in those late 50s in Japan, could you tell us something more about that? In which way the fact that they would want to wear occasionally Mingei-looking kimono, and has that been going on for longer? Has it been interrupted? Was it exported as a thought, or did it just die out?